Namaskar. In fact, today is the auspicious day of Guru Purnima. I take the opportunity to offer my salutations. I, along with you all, bow down to all the Gurus for all their sacrifice, for all the knowledge, without which we wouldn't have any access to this knowledge. It is that great Guru Shishya Parampara, it is that preceptor disciple lineage that has preserved, that has imparted this wisdom to us. Sir, I still get an echo on it. How is the voice at your end? Is it clear?
Yes. Be a little louder.
It can be a little louder. Hello? 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 Am I audible online? Vijayji, all okay? Okay.
The voice is a little bit soft. If it can be louder, it'll be better.
Now my heart is filled with sentiment. Please give me some time for my heart to settle down. It's a moment where a student's heart is devotion to the Guru. So let him express his feelings, please.
Ji.
Sometimes when emotion overwhelms you, you get choked. So I'm almost getting choked. And you say, please speak louder, being very unkind to me. Huh? So it's a very auspicious occasion where we all have to be extremely grateful. In fact, it is just that we can never express our gratitude to what the Gurus have given to us. So it's an opportunity. We remember the sacrifice and the wisdom imparted through the Agama, which is the tradition of the Guru Shishya Parampara. We have chosen to celebrate the occasion the following Sunday. I'm sure you all are aware, so please do join in for the celebration. So it's not that your love is any more today and it's not that disappears rest of the year. It's just a day you have chosen to express it. That's about all. It's not that today is any special from any other day. It is just another day because the feeling is not any special. It's just that you have chosen the day to express that gratitude. Therefore, we are celebrating it. So it's just a reminder to also keep a check. Do you have that emotion still intact? All right. So getting to the text, the 12th chapter, the 3rd section, the 13th verse, which we started with the 35 qualities of a devotee of God. The 35 qualities of a bhakta. The Lord is attempting to paint a picture of a true devotee. So, just like an artist who periodically now and then takes a step back and looks at his painting to take a true measure as to what he's done, where has he gone wrong, which are the strokes he has to perhaps correct or take a corrective measure. He takes a step back and he looks at his own painting. Exactly the same way, each of us have to take a look back and look at what it is to be a true devotee of God, because here he's trying to paint a picture of a true devotee. Just like a painter takes a step back to analyze his painting, you use these qualities as various strokes as a painter would to embellish the painting or to give a wholesome picture to the painting. So these qualities will help you to judge your own spiritual personality. And you will have to take a step back now and then to use these qualities as a measuring tool to analyze your spiritual development. Otherwise, we wouldn't have an idea how far we have developed. We don't have an idea how do we measure ourselves. So these qualities help us in a great way to measure our own spiritual development or your devotion to God, your bhakti to God. So the Lord says, he who has these qualities is very dear to me. So it is not what you consider as to be a devotee, but does the Lord consider you as his devotee? You may say, I am his devotee, but does he consider you? So these qualities help. Now we just went into the first quality. The first quality is adhveshtha sarvabhutanam. One who does not hate any being. As we learned, it's a very interesting and unusual construction, a beginning. When you say he does not hate any being, he starts on a negative note. When you say you have a love for God is not measured by how many people you love, but how many people you hate. The moment you have a hatred towards any particular aspect of the world, to any quarter, that is your level of devotion to God. So what therefore we have concluded is you cannot justify to harbor or engender hatred to any part of the world, to anybody other than you. You can't hate. Just because my left shoulder is giving me pain, will I start hating my left shoulder? My left shoulder is giving me pain, too much pain, this fellow. I am not able to turn, example only, there's no pain. Imagine if I'm turning on my left side in my sleep, I have to somehow adjust myself in the sleep and come back to my right side. Right? My left shoulder is hurting. Hey, simply remove this fellow, man. Chop it off. Will you ever think of why? Even though it could be considerable pain to you, you know it's a part of you, isn't it? You don't think in terms of getting rid of it. You think in terms of mending it. You think in terms of accommodating it. I'm sure there's a way around it. You'll find ways to deal with it because it's still me, still a part of you. When there is that kind of understanding that the entire world, everything is an expression of God, everything in the world is God's creation, how can I hate the God's creation? If I claim to love God, I must love every part of his creation. Oh, that is easy to understand. Oh, I love so much of the world. 70% of the world I love, sir. Then you may say, oh, that's my level of devotion to God is 70%. No, you're wrong. If you have 70% love, 30% you hate. Actually, 30% is your level, not 70%. Because at the point you start harboring and engendering hatred, you are failed. There is a saying, I'm just giving a quick recap. The quote that we said last week. The strength of a chain is its weakest link. Whatever the strength a chain has, it depends on its weakest link. So your strength lies in areas of your weakness. So the moment you hate somebody, or the moment you have an animosity to someone or something in particular, that is your level of devotion to God. So the best way to say one who loves, loving is as good as not hating. So instead of saying one who loves everybody, he says he who doesn't hate anybody. Because that moment of blemish stands out. See, if I'm wearing a white kurta, for example, I'm wearing almost off-white but white. But imagine this, if there is a spot of a blemish or dirt on that, on the fabric, that dot stands out. That imperfection will stand out. So your strength is determined by your weakness. Your love for God is determined by your hatred. So therefore he says a true devotee has no hatred to any being. Now, well, it could be a very, very difficult. First quality itself, clean gold. 34 more qualities. Where do I have a chance, Guruji? I tell you, you are being very unrealistic. Lord Krishna is highly unrealistic fellow. Chumma, he is talking for his own joy. No consideration to normal people like us. Where is it possible for us to have no hatred to any being? Almost all of us will fail in this classroom. Because the moment I talk of someone you hate, instantly many things keep popping on your mind, isn't it? Oh my God, there's so many things that's popping up. How can I not hate that person? Or how can I not hate that community? Or how can I not hate that region or a species? Gone, fail. Huh? Disqualified. Utterly disqualified. Not even, what is it we call, border marks, pass marks. No, not even border pass. You utterly fail. Hopelessly fail. Clean gold. So how does one get around that areas or moments where you engender hatred or otherness? So when you engender hatred, what's the way out of that? How can you wriggle yourself out of moments where you engender hatred? And there's a beautiful quality that we often are taught in Vedantic studies, which says, hate the sin, but not the sinner. One of the best qualities that you can actually practice every time your heart becomes a center of pessimism or negativity or hatred. At that very moment, you inject this quality into practice and start applying it. What does the quality mean? You hate the sin, but not the sinner. What does it mean? You hate the quality, but not the personality. Is the audio good enough for the hall? Good enough? Okay. We're just testing it out. Till 10 o'clock, I was saying Hari Om, Hari Om. I don't know, 10,000 times I would tell Hari Om. They made me sit here and said, Guruji, please, mic testing. 2 hours of saying Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. I want to Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. I was saying, no, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. You must tell. I tell you, these people made me so much say Hari Om. In my dream also, I was saying Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, shouting in dream. Lord of Guru Purnima coming, so I'm acquiring some punya. So there is you must segregate the quality from the personality. That's a very important quality you must develop in your relationship with the world. Separate the quality from the personality. And every individual is an admixture of qualities, isn't it, sir? Aren't you an admixture of qualities? Don't you have good which you're proud of? Don't you have some negative qualities which you wouldn't want to mention? Isn't it? All of us have best of qualities. All of us have the worst of qualities. So there is no reason for me to hate you because of a particular quality you exhibit. So if I can see other qualities in the person, so first what do? I start seeing the good quality in him. Rather than hating you for the bad quality, let me see what are the good qualities you have. That's one thing you can. So to the person that is, your blood boils the moment I mention the name, the moment your heart is entertaining that hatred, that very moment, try and see what good quality that person has got. And if you are attempting to see the goodness in that person, what do you call that? What do you call that practice of trying to identify the good in another person? Everybody has good and bad. Why laughing? What's that? There's a glare on my. Is it you all see glare on the screen also? Spectacles. And that is distracting you all. Huh? No, from that time she's been distracting me. Something she's saying. What is it she's saying this? I adjusted my specs, still she's laughing. What is going on? I said. I'm trying to develop Jnana Chakshu. At least this way the Jnana Chakshu is coming. No, that also you won't remember. What to do, I tell you. People are so inconsiderate you all are. The Jnana Chakshu I'm trying to develop. At least if not internally, externally, at least we're inducing it. No? What's going on? There she's going to come and do something to it now. What are you supposed to do? Vijayji, they are tampering with what you wanted to do. Is it any better now? Okay, no? No. These two lights, which are two. Ma, you're coming today, no? They are seeing me. That lights come last week. So there's a new addition. And that is disturbing them. For you, everything is new. For them, it's. Thanks, Vijayji. He rightly said, light is coming from the third eye. So when you try to identify with the good quality in another person, what is that quality you're trying to practice? What is it you're trying to practice? Sorry? I didn't get you. Tolerant. Tolerance is I tolerate your negativity. Suppose you are, I can't say to you. Why I'm saying is, suppose you're singing discord, which you can't, that's what I'm saying. You are a guru of singing. Suddenly you're singing a song discord. Somehow I'm tolerating it. When is she going to stop singing on the Madri? You tolerate that nuisance. That fellow ritualistically come. These 3 months we didn't work because we were putting AC on. He is the most disciplined fellow. You people lack the discipline. Panikreji, we've been seeing past 2 years. Consistently 11:55 he'll come this road and he'll say, Pata Samal Kuntamu, Pata Samal Amutamu, he'll say.
He doesn't say it in the recorded.
That is what he is saying. But as far as we're concerned, he is saying it.
Technology.
Technology. But he comes every Sunday, he'll come. Same time he'll come and we'll tolerate that. That is we'll tolerate this. See, heavenly help will come, he gets, In India, what the help. No, in fact, to identify the other good quality in a person, you need to have that attitude of detachment. You need to stand apart and watch. When another person exhibiting a negative quality, I don't identify with that negativity. What I choose to detach and try and see the other goodness in you, which is sadly not manifesting at that moment. At that moment, negativity is manifesting. Somebody is extremely annoying and anger at you. You can either get completely put off by that anger, or you can say there could be a reason why that person is angry. You're looking at a positive side to that negativity. You're trying to identify, as far as you're concerned, you're identifying with the good in other person. Or that person is usually very accommodative. There may be a reason why that person is like that. So, what are you trying to practice when you do that? What is the quality you're trying to practice? Okay, I'll give you a clue. All of you are practicing right now that one. Online and offline. Bhakti, where did Bhakti come here? Sakshi? No.
Discrimination.
Sir, mic irka sir kaila. வேலை பண்ணிருது சார் நீங்க ஆன் பண்ணுங்க எல்லாம் டெஸ்ட் பண்ணிட்டு நீங்க ப்ரெஷஸ் హోల్డ్ చేయండి.
Discrimination? Is it discrimination?
No, you're obviously discriminating. And you have chosen to identify with the good. What is that quality you're practicing? Sir, sir.
Quality of seeing the goodness in people. The quality of seeing the goodness in people is put to test when you see negativity. So unless you have that, rather the power of concentration, the power of focus is put to test. So unless there is negativity, that can't be put to test.
No, you are going again, you are doing reverse logic to me. Don't come reverse gear, I'm going forward gear. Obviously, there is bound to be negative and positive. My question is, when negativity presents itself, you are trying to look at an opportunity to identify the good that is inherent in that person. Please bear with me. What I'm getting at is, if I were to tell you, see the Atman in that person, can you see the Atman? That is so high. So start seeing the goodness first, and then slowly you will separate the quality from the personality. Before you start separating the qualities from the personality, you see another quality in the person. Can you see? So I'm going step by step to that ultimate thing. I can't say, see the Atman in him, everybody is Atman. See the Atman. That is very easy to say.
But when you see negativity, at that particular moment of time, it is difficult to see anything else.
Then you are involved. You are carried away by that quality. So the whole
That particular point of time.
we're talking at that point only. When I say hate the sin, not the sinner, when after 2 years we'll say, is it? At that point only you must apply, no? You hate the quality, not the sinner. Don't hate the person, man. Hate the quality.
Very difficult.
That is secondary will. Just to clarify this point. Whether easy or difficult is another thing. You are coming from a different planet today, different angle you are coming. Ramji, witness. No, you are able to practice. You are able to see the goodness only because you are trying to practice sakshi or witness. But what is that quality that you are trying to practice right now? Sadhana, not far, getting close. आप क्या पढ़ के आए सवेरे? No. So sweet. Ramji?
I don't know the exact, in the non-Vedantic language, we call it positive attitude. But in Vedantic language, perhaps what Usha said is right, sattvic quality.
Okay. Sir, what you are trying to practice here is satsang.
Satsang.
What is satsang? Sat is the good. Sang is the company. What have you come here for? We have created an environment here so we can have a satsang. You can say in loose language, we are having a satsang. What is satsang? You are invoking good qualities where you are allowing your mind to revel in positivity. Where it could be the chanting, it could be music, it could be the fragrance, it could be the flowers, it could be the knowledge. Everything is so conducive so that you leave an aura of positivity in you. Except plastic saman amudamo. Other than that, everything is conducive. Otherwise, that is very irritating. But you have to pass.
Sir, but the real test, if I have to say, the real test is that when you are faced in real life, maybe at work or your neighbor or your somebody in your building who is so negative towards you and who is spewing venom against you, affecting your personal life or career, how do you remain positive towards him or her? So I think we all have to practice it in real life, means we have to practice in such situations. That is a challenge, sir. And there we have to really practice looking at the positive side of the person, in spite of so much of negativity that person is doing. In corporate life, it's so common that people will dig, big trenches behind you and then make you fall. And it happened to me also personally. But how do you remain indifferent to, not even indifferent, how do you have some positive attitude towards that person? How do you see that everybody will have, like you said, positive qualities and negative qualities? But in a situation like that, so that calls for a lot of mental training and discipline and positive way of looking at even the greatest enemies in the greatest enemies may be around you only. I'm not talking of other countries and things like that.
So the first test is the family itself.
Absolutely, sir. The greatest,
If you
those
can,
who cause you the greatest pain are in the family only,
if you can,
closest ones.
the real family, the family puts you into a lot of these tests and challenges.
Absolutely, on a daily basis.
Test of wisdom is its applicability.
Yes, sir.
It's like the airbag you have in your car. If it doesn't serve the moment you need it, it is fatal. It may be lying there for 5 years, but on the moment when you least expected, I had that horrifying experience. In Malaysia, I was going for a lecture. I dropped off the family at another student's home and I was going for a class. I was a heavy traffic and we were on a flyover. We were maybe going at 20, 30 speed, not high speed. 20, 30, 40 at max, I think so. Not even 40, 20, 30 speed. And I had to call the coordinator of the class to tell I will be late because of a traffic jam. I took a different route, so I didn't anticipate the traffic. So I said I'll be late 10, 15 minutes. So there is a Bluetooth connector. I tried to search for the number, it was not there. So there's a pamphlet to my right, the contact details of the coordinators. So I put my hand, I couldn't find the paper. Later I am going inside, somewhere I'm going inside, where's the paper? Paper not found. For that split second, I looked down. And the vehicle had brake. Both the airbags, the dashboard and this came up. For a moment, you're disoriented. It just, at that moment, nothing happened, touch wood. Nothing happened. But imagine if it did not come and serve me, the purpose of airbag is useless, isn't it, sir? So the wisdom is like that airbag. And if it has served you, that means you have it with you. Otherwise, you don't have it. So you don't have to look for opportunities to practice this quality. There is every time you get opportunities to practice, because every now and then the world presents itself with imperfections, negativities, and challenges. How do you reciprocate? Whether you get carried away with it or you're able to accept it. Sir, when you heighten this, the famous words of Christ when he was being crucified on the cross, he said, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. Aren't they so profound words that to a point where you're being crucified on the cross, it's not somebody insulting you. It's the greatest of insult to a man who has done so much to humanity. You may say, oh, nobody understood him. Today, half the world is following him. If you think Christ is any less,
Yes.
he's not any less because I may have a prejudice towards a particular community or a religion, but he is not any less. 1 minute.
Yeah.
So, Ramji, we all are tested, but the question is, how well prepared are we to face
Correct.
that? So we have to start being conscious of this quality to separate the sin and the sinner. The problem is, for as far as we are concerned, at that moment, the sinner is the sin. The person is the quality. So therefore, we can't separate. But if you can start practicing, it's what we are advised to do, sir, the people that you interact with day in and day out, prepare a chart of their personality. What they are, what are their good qualities and bad qualities. Start with your own family members.
Yeah.
Then to your external members, then to your working community. You talk of your corporate life. You meet your staff, the people that you work day in and day out. Have at a flash, you know what they are. So when they present a specific thing to you, you're able to understand that they have these two aspects. So you're not carried away with that particular quality at that moment.
Sir, I would also add that you should not also get carried away by the good qualities. In the sense that, like you say, that somebody is showing you a lot of goodness and love, you also have to separate out love and lover. Like you are saying, separate out sin and sinner. Because otherwise, what we tend to do is that we fall in love with those who are showing us love. And then the other side of the coin is that you hate the people who are hating you. So I think both have to be equally practiced, that you must stand apart from both love and hate.
So the new quote by Ramji is, don't love the lover also. Separate the love and the lover.
Yeah, if you can't do that, you can't separate sin and sinner. This is what I am saying.
Where you are not, you don't get affected by either of the qualities. Whether you do good to me or bad to me, I am not identifying with it. Why
Exactly.
I should not identify.
Because both those who are showing love and those who are showing hate, both are hopelessly expressing their vasanas.
So there you go.
So if you go by that principle, then you have to be indifferent, or indifferent is not the right word. You have to be detached from the feelings that they are showing to you. I mean, you must be aware of them. You must. I'm not saying that you should not reciprocate or good love and all that, but I'm just saying that you must be aware that it could be a trap. That raga dvesha, as we say, both raga and dvesha are you have to be atit from raga and dvesha both.
Absolutely. Yes, ma.
In this context of what you said just now about there is one famous doha. This is बुरा जो देखन मैं गया बुरा न मिलिया कोई जो दिल देखा आपना मुझसे बुरा न कोई.
Correct.
I think that explains everything as to what you want to see in others. That's what it is.
It's a reflection of your own mind.
Yes.
Indeed, very true.
But in the practical application of wisdom,
Practical application.
wisdom, the question which Mr. Ramji is asking,
Oh.
if somebody is, hurling invectives at me or shouting at me, in that kind of a situation, what am I going to do? There's a beautiful incident in the life of the Buddha when he comes with a handful of disciples to a village, and all the group of villagers gather and they shout at them. They throw invectives at the Buddha, saying, you're useless fellows, you beg for your food, you don't work, that kind of thing. Then the Buddha was serene. Then one of them said, we are shouting at you, we are abusing you, and still you choose to be so calm and serene. How is that possible? Then the Buddha said, before we came here, we were at another village about 1 hour back. 10 o'clock in the morning. So they all came with fruits and sweets and, for us to eat. And then, but I told them, we monks eat only once in the morning, and 9 o'clock our food is over. We are so sorry. We are not able to accept what you're giving us. So in the second village, the Buddha said, we refused, we couldn't accept those sweets and fruits. What do you think those villagers would have done with them? Then the fellow said, what they would have done? They would have taken it back and distributed among neighbors and so on. In the same way, I am not accepting your abuses. I am not accepting your invectives. I am not accepting whatever you have thrown at us. Now, what will you do with it? So nobody can affect me without my permission, without my consent. That becomes the practical application of wisdom when I am firm in my conviction.
And understanding. Whatever the world throws at you, you don't have to identify with it. There's a quality elsewhere, he says, balanced in pleasure and pain.
He's not agitated by the world.
Yeah.
It's practically we have to keep learning and applying.
The quality that is to be practiced is when you operate on the intellect, you become objective. One of the important points we keep saying that you have got nothing to do with others' personality. You unnecessarily identify with them and then you suffer the consequences. Why should you identify with them? If that person is a short-tempered person, let him be short-tempered. Why should I lose my cool because of his short-temperedness? So you're unnecessarily binding yourself to everything that's happening around you. I understand it is his vasanas. It is his nature. Let him express it. I've got nothing to do with it. Sir, I am not doing anything. I've got nothing to do with it. If any sound is coming, I've got nothing to do with it. That's what I'm practicing. See, don't we appreciate the ferocity of a tiger, but we admire it from a distance? You go to a jungle to see its ferocity, but you keep the distance and appreciate it, don't we? You don't go close to it and then get mauled by it and say, hey, that fellow is ferocious. Who's to be blamed? The ferocity of the tiger or your stupidity? Who told you to get so close to it? You know that fellow is like that. You know he is cunning, he is manipulative. Why are you becoming a victim of his manipulative nature? Understand it, keep a distance, and you deal with it properly. So Vedanta says never become victims of others' actions. Never become victims. So whether other person throws good at you or bad at you, you don't get carried away with it. So there are ways you can deal with it, but ultimately a sadhak will try to see the pure consciousness in every human being. Whether you appear to be a sinner or a saint, your true nature is Atman. The pure, unconditioned nature of the self is Davat. You may appear to be a sinner, you may appear to be a saint or vice versa, but I have got nothing to do whether you're sinner or saint because I'm trying to see the Atman in you. So the highest of practice is to see the Atman in him. And how is it possible to see the Atman in the other, SR?
How do we see Atma in others?
Atman is there.
Yeah.
Just like I'm there to be seen, you are there to be seen for me, to me, whether you see it or not. So the Atman has to be seen because that's ultimate sadhana. Ultimate satsang is to see the reality, the Atman in the other person. How do you see the Atman?
Unless we exhibit all these qualities.
Sir, Atman has got nothing to do with the qualities.
No, one who possesses all the qualities.
What has Atman got to do with the quality? Has Atman got anything to do with the quality? Vijayji, tell me whether it's okay, huh? The self, if this were the medium, on one side are the negative qualities, on the other side are the positive qualities. The self is the core of your personality. The self is the very core of your personality. The self has got nothing to do with the negative or the positive. So if I have to identify with the self in you, I am not identifying with whether you are a,
It's as good as a neutral to the both.
yes, you are not seen. You are not interested in either a sinner or a saint. Though a saint may, what does a saint do? A sinner how do you spell camouflage? FLOUGE, right? So the saint reveals the self. Means when a saint conducts himself in a particular way, it reveals the self in him. Because of his actions, because of his positivity, because of his maturity. A sinner, when he conducts in a particular way, perhaps a gross person speaks a very gross language, very immature behavior, very selfish, ignorant behavior. You don't see any divinity in him. So a sinner exhibits demoniac qualities. So all the negative qualities are, yeah, that's why, what's the spelling? M is there, no? CAM, F, camouflage, right? So thanks, Ma. So the negative qualities, which are the demoniac qualities, camouflage the self. So the self, you can't see the self in him. But in a person who is exhibiting negative qualities, has the self got anything to do with the negative qualities? No. Self has got nothing to do with the negativity. The most atrocious crime a sinner does, self has got nothing to do with it. A saint exhibits most of divine qualities. Has the self got anything to do with the divine qualities which he is revealing in his life? No. He's not nothing to do. So if you have to identify with the self, you have got nothing to do with the qualities. No attributes. Self has got no attributes. So the highest sadhana is to see the self in other person, irrespective of positive or negative. See, the same quality, we are raising it to a higher level. At the lowest level, you can say, don't hate the quality. Hate the quality, not the personality. That's the very initial way of practicing. Another way of saying is, I see the truth in you. But when is it you can see the self in another person? Was the question. The only way you can see the self in another person is by seeing the self in yourself. The moment you see the Atman in you, that very moment you can see the Atman in another person. And what is the law? I repeat, only when you realize the self in you, when I see the self in myself, I can see the self in you. There's no other way but elevating yourself to a point of fault. Even the worst act, you don't identify with it. You see the self in it. Because self has got nothing to do with it. Many a time, if a building is gutted by fire, and if they go to the root cause, they say it is electrocution. Some electric spark has created and the whole building is gutted by fire. Short circuit. The same power which is vitalizing this premises same electricity which is vitalizing every gadget in this room, in this hall, in this premises. The same electricity some malfunction can gutter the whole building. Has it got anything electricity to do with the vitality it is giving? You go and ask electricity, oh, you are very beautiful, these lovely lights, it gives such a soothing atmosphere. Electricity say, that's your business. I have got nothing to do with a soothing light, whether it is a bedroom bulb light or flash floodlit bulb you put. What electricity got to do with it? It says nothing. Has any electricity got to do with any short circuit and being gutted by fire? It happened because of it. It has got nothing to do with it. So in both the qualities of hating the sin and not the sinner, and also trying to see the Atman in the other, what is being practiced is detachment. It is only detachment is being intensified. So I don't get carried away by your negativity. I don't get carried away by your personality. Personality is whether you're a sinner or saint, I don't get carried away. Whether positive or negative quality, I don't get carried away. I see the self in you. I am trying to see the good quality in you. There is an echo I am getting. You get it? So when you are in moments of hatred, this is how you reveal yourself out of it. So you don't become victims of negativity. You got to be extremely alert. It's like when you're driving, you're alert all the time, no? You never know when you can get in trouble while driving. And the moment you relax, you have it. Something will happen. It takes you off course. Could you use the mic, please? More so for the. Is it on, Vijay?
Yeah, the word duality. So when I know that the duality exists, that means I have elevated myself and I'm accepting the other person with the duality. Because I'm a little confused with the word duality.
What does duality mean? Two. What does two mean? There is good and bad. So when you. So what are you asking? Sorry.
No, I just wanted to know the meaning. Like in detachment, when I say I'm detached, that means I'm accepting the duality. I'm accepting the good and the bad in a person.
Okay.
And I'm not getting affected by it.
I am not identifying with it.
Okay. That is what it.
I know you have good and bad.
Mm.
In order to see good, I also must be detached first.
Okay.
In order to see the Atman in you beyond the good and bad, also I need detachment. So if I can't practice detachment with qualities, I can't practice detachment to see the self. So dualities is integral part of life. So when you get carried away with one, that means you're not detached.
Mm.
When you're detached, you see the drama happening, good and bad.
But in this humdrum of life, how do we practice that and how do we?
It is that, see, all of it boils down to the amount of tapas and sadhana you do. It's like if I were to tell her to take to the stage and perform, she will mesmerize us with her performance. Why? Because she has done the sadhana and the tapas, so she's ever ready to perform. Just like that, you are in a world where the moment you get up, till the time you get to bed, you are exposed to heat and cold, joy and sorrow, profit and loss, birth and death, good and bad, honor and dishonor, acceptance, rejectance, love and hatred. This is the world that we are in. So from the very first experience, the moment you open your eyes, what are you living with? What have you to deal with? JUL. So you better know how to deal with it. How to deal with it is to understand first and foremost. Rather than you see what is the opposite of acceptance?
Rejection.
Not dictionary, please. I don't want thesaurus in there. What is the opposite of Harish? What is the opposite of what? No, what is the opposite of? Acceptance. I now on the topic. What is the opposite of acceptance, sir?
Rejection.
I wholeheartedly reject what you said. Complete rejected. What is the opposite of acceptance?
Non-acceptance, you refuse to accept.
Safest way.
I'm refusing to see, like I am identifying the sinner with the sin when I'm,
You got to understand the context.
okay.
What is the context? The context is you are expected to, you are told to accept the world is of dualities. The world is dualities, accept it, man. If you don't accept the world, what it is presenting itself, what is the life you will be living?
Miserable life.
Now I am going through misery here. Please, somebody identify I am going through utter misery. See, opposite of acceptance is expectation. You are not accepting what the world is presenting. You are expecting the world to be in a particular way.
So our entire misery is because of our expectations.
Full stop. And the full stop, what to go? Full stop, that's what it is. I want the world in a particular way. And when the world gives me the other side of it, what will happen? I'm affected by it. But when I anticipate that this is how the monsoon is going to be, this is the weather, you don't complain at it. You don't expect the monsoon to be dry, would you? Same thing I've been saying. You come back after 30 years, I'll be saying same thing. I don't know anything else to say. That's the problem. You remember that, don't you? My first student, 30 years. So she remembers what I taught her. Behind here only. Right behind here. So the truth doesn't change. So what we are trying to say is, so if you have to accept it, you must analyze what it is. When you have a clear analysis, for example, sir, point blank acceptance that business means profit and loss. Isn't it? There is no business that will only be making profit. So when you accept that, why would you be affected by loss? You should provide for loss, isn't it? Should provide. In accounting system also there is a provision, no sir? Loss column nobody follows the loss column. It exists only, that's all. So in reality of life, if we gracefully accept everything as a part of life, don't expect it, then you're no problem. Yes, ma'am? You wouldn't be disappointed because you know what the weather is going to be. Okay. My dear friends, only one quality. I want to move on to the second quality. Looks like I am not being allowed to move to next quality. Panigraha ji, yes sir. Please. Haji.
What I can understand, this concept is very relevant from the point of view of interpersonal relationships. But the real challenge to me is the managing self, because all our mythological characters, I think they have a kind of devas, then asuras, There is a clear distinction between good and bad. But the real challenge is everything is there in us. So the real challenge is how to manage, because when we label somebody as good or bad, or good quality, bad quality, well, the predominant quality of the person decides whether he is a good person or a bad person. But all these things are in ourselves.
Yes.
So when we see something that is predominantly get filtered by what approach or what is our predominant quality. If I want to see goodness in people, if you ask Yudhishthira, how are the people? You tell them everybody is truthful, everybody is good. If you ask the same question to Duryodhana, he will have his own this thing. So managing self is the real challenge to me. So in that context, how do we this thing? What is the thing? Because all whatever we have discussed so far is relevant from the point of view of interpersonal relationships, me and others. So what is the solution? Like how one should have that quality that I will see self in me and managing self. In that context, if you can throw some light on.
No, what? See, the whole spiritual sadhana, the world that you are perceiving is a reflection of your own inner personality. They say the world is a projection of your own mind. So if you are having a pure personality, you will see purity all around you. So the entire journey is not trying to see what you are seeing, is trying to change your perspective to what you are seeing. So that is very clear, no? Is not trying to change what you are seeing, is not to change the object of perception, is to change your outlook to what you are perceiving. That is spirituality. So you are going to change from negative to positive, from tamasic to rajasic to sattvic, and then you keep raising the bar of sattva until you get to trans-sattva, where you reach the self, hit the self. So that is, I'm sorry to say, it's a very straightforward thing. Means that's understood. Whole spirituality is changing outlook.
Fear. About
Oneself.
we are at peace and happy, the world will be looking happy and
Absolutely.
same turmoil will be saw little earlier.
So could you use a mic, please?
No, what I mean is, if we are disturbed, since it is a reflection of the mind, we see turmoil all around. But if we are after doing sadhana, we are at peace and happy. The same world full of turbulence for others, for us it looks at peace because we are at peace.
Absolutely. It's purely a reflection of your inner personality. Right. So the second quality is maitraha. Maitraha means being friendly. So he says a devotee exhibits this quality of a friendly nature. Now, what is it to be? So perhaps first he gave negative quality, he immediately corrects himself by giving a positive quality. First he says not hate any being, then he says he's very friendly fellow. So a devotee of God is very friendly. What does it mean, friendly? He has a general affection to everybody. He's very inviting. A friend is one who's always invites you, very inviting, very accepting. So, but what we need to understand, friendly means it is an attitude where you develop what we understand. What do we understand in terms of friendly relationship? Our concept of relationship is a preferential attachment. When you say my friend, you prefer him from the other, isn't it? It's a selective relationship. When do I call you my friend? When you have either a same interest or
Commonalities. That's all.
there's a common factor, or you're thinking along with me. I like you. I am accepting you because I am being catered to by you. The moment you don't cater to me, all that friendship is gone. You are no more my friend. So here when he says friendship, here he is talking about a dispassionate passion, an impersonal affection to one and all. You are friendly, you have a general affection to everybody, but you have an impersonal affection. It's not a preferential attachment.
Guruji, is it required to specifically mention that you need to be friendly? Because first point is very clearly mentioned. Don't hate others. When you don't hate others, you have become friendly to everyone.
What is obvious there? What do you mean
So
obvious?
why we need to again specifically mention be friendly?
Just to highlight the
First quality itself is
first
different.
quality he's saying on the negative side. Second thing is putting on a positive side.
See, as good as that, when you overcome the negative, will be on the positive only.
But he's spelling it out so that it's describing it from a positive standpoint. You may say a parallel factor, but what is here being advocated here is as an impersonal affection you carry to everybody. Vis-a-vis getting a, what do you call, fast friend. What do you call, nowadays, what do you have that, college friends group. Alumni club. What else club? What else you have?
Yeah, Rotary Club. Rotary Club also there. Rotary Club friends.
Sir, they other day honored me. I can't say Rotary Club here. Maybe after a few months I will say Rotary Club. So what is it? What is it that we develop? We develop a preferential attachment. So the concept here is being generally friendly or acceptance. Anybody. Anybody. You don't have, it's not necessarily a familiar world. Anybody you are very welcoming. No preferential attachment. The third quality is karunaha, compassionate. You are very considerate to others. A general feeling of compassion to others. Opposite of compassion is no consideration. You don't care, no concern for their feelings or their situations. But compassionate does not mean weak pity. When you see another person suffering, indeed it's empathy, but it is not having a weakness when you see others suffering. When you see others are less fortunate than you, what happens? When you see others are less fortunate than you, when you see them, what happens? It triggers a feeling which is a weakness in us. It triggers a weak pity in us. So you feel an impulse, and that weakness is an immature emotion for others' misfortune. I repeat, that weak emotion you have is an impulse which is an immature emotion for others' misfortune. When somebody is suffering, you see them suffering, it triggers a, oh, you're so sorry, so sad. Wow, look at him, what they're going through. So it triggers a certain emotion, which is a weakness in you. Therefore, compassionate is not a weak pity. It's not an immature emotion. It is a concern, consideration for others, not a weakness. So when a pitiable situation confronts you, what should you do? You must control the surface emotion first. Whatever surface emotion comes, ayya, pa, why, adalla control. No surface emotion. How do you control the surface emotion? There is no need to get emotional at all. How do you control that emotion? By understanding that that person is getting what he is deserving. There's a law of karma that is giving what he deserves. There is no need for me to be emotional about it. To control the surface emotion, not to become emotional. Instantly you start reasoning. They are in that situation because they deserve it. Their karma is governing their actions. The next step is whatever service you can render, you do without an egoistic notion. Without feeling yourself superior to that person, you render your action. Compassion is to have that consideration without a weakness, understanding that they get what they deserve, and uplifting them with your acts of service. 4 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4. Shamalam, I wrote the 4 points.
Render help
Without an egoistic notion of superiority. But what are the 4 points you wrote down? 4 points சொன்னேன். First point என்ன? Compassion is a consideration for others.
Yes, there's no weak impulse in this.
Second is control your
Surface emotion.
surface emotion or weakness of emotion.
Yes.
And how do you do that? The third step is
Karma. You understand somebody's karma.
understand it is their karma, they get what they deserve.
Yes.
And then fourth
Render
is
Render help.
render your service or help to uplift them without any egoistic notion. Without any ahankar, I am superior and I am doing to you. And the Mari, no thought of that. If you put all these 4 together, perhaps it gives a wholesome picture of what compassion is. Usually compassion is mistaken to a mere feeling of an immature emotion for others' misfortune. It's not a mere surface emotion for others' misfortune. That comes naturally, it's a weakness. So please understand, compassion is not weak pity. It is not triggered from a weakness of emotion. It triggers from understanding that I want to uplift you. You get what you deserve. Don't go and tell him that, Panigraji. You don't have to tell him you get what you deserve, you fellow. Don't tell that. But understand that they get what they deserve. What we do is try and see how you can alleviate his suffering, how you can elevate him from his pain or sorrow in whatever way you can. And when you do that, there is no superiority or egoistic notion. Sabji, when you come into the classroom, you must put on a hat of spiritual seeker, not an NTPC or corporate guru. Okay, ji? आपके कितने hat हैं? You must wear a spiritual hat. No, you're very right. Vijay ji? Yes, sir.
I think that we can also add one more aspect to this to take it further is when we are able to render service, to have gratitude that we are able to render service. So not just not having ego about it, but thanking the Lord that He has made you. I mean, in act, what I'm trying to say is used you as a medium to render that service. So you have gratitude towards that.
Yeah, you're thankful for being given an opportunity to serve.
Yes.
Great, absolutely. Yes, Chief. Yes.
In this context, Guruji, there's a beautiful observation of Swami Parthasarathy. He says, God is the homogeneous conscious principle manifesting in the heterogeneous variety of beings, and thus to love and serve your fellow men is the highest form of devotion to God.
So you're seeing a homogeneous principle in the heterogeneous manifestation.
Love and serve your fellow men is the highest form of devotion.
To see the same self in everything and to serve.
That's why you.
True. Very true. So you see, these qualities have so much applicability. It is, as I've said, these qualities are used to measure your spiritual quotient. So when we are trying to go quality by quality, we have a little distance to go to finish 35 qualities. Now, all these qualities are some way or other connected. But what you will understand is these qualities becomes your tool for your self-evaluation. So the understanding of the quality, picturization of the quality, applicability of the quality is what is being attempted in this classroom. It is not just explain and then move on. So when you give that applicability, then you have chances to even apply the quality and see to what extent I'm able to apply. Where am I able to apply? What are the challenges I'm finding difficult to apply? For example, don't hate anybody, not hating any being. So you apply that quality, what we discussed, how we decoded it. So this section of the text is applied philosophy, and a beautiful section. And each quality has a different flavor. And you may ask me, sir, why did he give 35 qualities? It's like when you go into an ice cream parlor, why do you have 20 ice cream flavors? Why do you go, when you go to a sweet shop, why do you find 100 sweets there? Because each one has a different taste. So to cater to the different palate and demand for different sweets, they have many such. So each one of you are inspired by a particular quality. And when you work on that particular quality, automatically other qualities also surface. It's not necessary you must practice all the qualities, don't worry. Out of these 35, 3-4 qualities may inspire you. Try to practice them to the T. When you start practicing them, the rest of the qualities also surface. So if you are able to practice compassion 40%, automatically you will practice Maitraha 40%. Automatically you will be practicing Adveshta Sarvabhutanam to 40%. It's not that you are compassionate 70% and hating someone being is 10%. There's no disparity. So there is a medium in all the qualities. Yes, sir.
About the overlap also, not that will be very distinctive.
Where do you find an overlap?
Not exactly here. The Narada Bhakti Sutras, where we also quote 35, Narada, one of the great saint, he gave the qualities of a devotee. When he also gave 35, many of them overlaps. Actually, the
Overlap with what?
quality names are different, but the qualities are same, more or less.
Comparing with other text or his own?
Narada Bhakti Sutras. There he says 35, I don't know whether both are same, more or less looks like same kind of thing only.
I don't know if you have a list of them, can you just
Yeah,
share it with me?
Yes.
I'll have a look at it, but which text it's coming?
It's not the Bhakti Sutras only.
But where does it appear? Which, is there a text it comes in under?
Yes, Guruji, I'll show to you.
Maybe let me know.
Here also, I think 35, each one is distinctive, or I'm sure.
To a large extent, they are distinct.
Okay.
If at all there is only active voice, passive voice, he may say. Like he noted the first and second, there's negative sign, positive, but more or less, they're all unique qualities. For example, even in C, in the very first verse, the next fourth quality is without minus, nirmamaha. Then he says nirahankara, without egoism. Then he says balanced in pleasure and pain. Then he says forgiving. Then he moves on to perfectly content. Santushta satatam, ever perfectly content. You are a yogi, self-control. So before prasadam, we will not talk self-control, sir. It's a difficult quality to practice. So those of you who are missing the prasadam, that's your loss. We are very soon going for a prasadam. Harish, it's a terrible loss for you. I don't know. You don't know what you are missing. I don't know what is there in Hong Kong. Please come here. I know your family is there. Please, I'm not. There's a bigger family here also, please. So self-control, and he goes on, and then he says, having firm conviction with mind and intellect dedicated to me, by whom the world is not agitated, by whom one who is not agitated by the world, free from wants, free from joy, envy, fear, anxiety. So no repetition, unconcerned, untroubled, pure, dexterous, goes on. Not a single quality is repeating. Okay. We'll come back. Namada Namidam Namudachyate Nasya Namadaya Namevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.